Welcome back, students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST June. Students, today we are going to revise the chapter Devotion Path to the Divine, under which we will study the popular beliefs during the medieval period, in which we will study Bhakti movement and the Sufi movement. Here we are going to discuss few important topics from this chapter. So let's start. As during the medieval period, there were many beliefs which were popular. With the different religions, many different type of beliefs were there, but two popular beliefs were the Bhakti movement and the Sufi movement. So first of all, the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement stood for the feeling of oneness. It began in South India in the 7th century by the Alvars, who worshipped Vishnu, and the Nayanars, who worshipped Lord Shiva. Bhakti saints rejected caste system and all rituals. They taught and wrote in local languages spoken by ordinary people. There were few principles of the Bhakti movement, that is, one supreme God, good deeds, personal devotion, and equality of all human beings. So Bhakti movement took place in the different regions. So first it took place in the south. So the cult of Bhakti took its birth in the form of a movement in Tamil in 7th century as a reaction against the growing tides of Buddhism and Jainism. From the 18th century onwards, it began to flourish in the whole South India. Shankaracharya and Ramanuja spread the message of Bhakti in the south. They were the most prominent religious teachers of that time. As Shankaracharya was born in Kerala in the 8th century, he propagated the Advaita or oneness of the individual soul with God. And he was the follower of Lord Shiva. Ramanuja was the great philosopher who flourished during the Cholas. He preached people to put themselves in the hands of God. And about Ramanuja, he was the follower of Lord Vishnu. One more was there whose name is Madhvacharya. He lived in 13th century in Karnataka and popularized the worship of Krishna. And other words, the Basavana and the Lingayata movement were also there. After that, the Bhakti movement took place in Maharashtra. There it spread in the region of Maharashtra from the 13th to the 17th century. Namdev, Eknath, Tukaram and Janeshwar were the prominent Bhakti saints who composed Bhakti song in Marathi. They worshipped Lord Vishnu, or name Lord Vitthal, and believed that God resides in the heart of every human being. People of all castes and classes can reach God through selfless devotion. After that, some yogi, Nathpanthi and Siddhacharyas were also there. There were some other categories of Bhakti saints who believed the God is a formless ultimate reality and one can achieve him through meditation, yogasana and breathing exercise. All these Bhakti saints rejected all the rituals and ceremonies associated with religious practices. Tukaram was the most popular of all the saints. He is known for the selfless devotion to God. Then later, the Bhakti movement was very popular in the North India. Kabir, Nanak, Tulsidas, Surdas, Ravidas and Mirabai were the important moving spirit of the Bhakti movement in the Northern India. Among them, who were the most critical of the unjust social order and the caste system were Kabir and Nanak. They tried at most to promote Hindu-Muslim unity. Kabir was the chief disciple of Ramananda. He wanted to unite the Hindus and the Muslims. He preached that both are the children of a single God. He taught that Ram and Rahim, Allah and Ishwar are the same. They exist everywhere in the world. His followers were known as the Kabir Panthis. Surdas and Tulsidas enriched the Bhakti movement in 16th century, and Surdas is popularly known for his bhajans which were compiled in Sursagar, and Tulsidas was a, we can say, follower of Lord Rama, and he composed Ramcharitmanas as well. If we talk about the philosophy of Kabir Das, Kabir Das believed in the unity of God. His ideas were influenced by both Bhakti and Sufi sense. He compiled his preachings in the form of Duha, Sabad and Sakhi. He said that there is only one God whom we call by several names such as Rama, Hari, Govinda, Allah, etc. He prescribed for his followers love, simple living, and tolerance for others as the only way to receive God's blessing. He gave importance to a guru, since it was the guru who led the devotees to realization of God and showed the people the correct path. Here is an excerpt from a Duha of Kabir. Now let's see a little about Guru Nanak and Sikhism. Guru Nanak Dev founded Sikhism. He was born in 1469 in Talwandi near Lahore. He is regarded by the Sikhs as the first Guru. He believed in one God. He asserted that the Hindus and Muslims were the children of one God. He disapproved caste system and preached equality. He began the system of langar and mass eating, where free food was distributed. People of every caste dined together, and it created the feeling of brotherhood. There were few teachings of Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak insisted on the three principles which contained the essence of life. Number 1 is Naam Japo, that is meditation. Number 2, Kirt Karo, that is work hard and earn your livelihood by honest deeds. And third is Vand Chako, that is spend some part of your earning on the less fortunate people. The teachings of Guru Nanak and some of his successors are collected in the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the holy book of Sikh. It is also known as the Adi Granth. He was a worshipper of formless God. He rejected idol worship and meaningless rituals. He stressed on the purity of character and conduct and the need of a guru for guidance. His teachings were spread among people through group singing of hymns, which were known as the Kirtan. Now, a little bit we will see about the Sufi movement. The Sufi movement in Islam was the counterpart of Bhakti movement. This movement originated in Persia in the 11th century. The Sufi saints too, like the Bhakti saints, believed in love for the fellow beings and discarded fast and the rituals. Some of the early Sufi saints were Rabia in the 19th century and Nuri in the 10th century, who emphasized worldly renunciation and discovering God within. The Sufi saints mixed freely with the Hindus and preached religious tolerance. The Sufi saints organized 12 orders of silsilas. Each order followed its own tariqa or method of instruction. Each order had its own guru, and the member of the order were called Fakir. Each order was named after its founder. The common features of all of them were special methods of training like Jibra, which means chanting of sacred name or formula, Sama, which means singing, Raqs means dancing, meditation and discussion. The Peers set up religious centers called the monasteries. The disciples of Peer were called Murids. There were also two more popular orders. These were the Chishti orders and Suhrawardi orders. So Chishti orders was the one of the most important Sufi saints who came to India in 12th century was Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. He first came to Lahore, then Delhi, and finally settled in Ajmer. His dargah at Ajmer has been a famous center of pilgrimage since medieval time. The famous Urs festival is held annually at the dargah. Other famous Chishti saints were Khwaja Kutubuddin, Bakhtiyar Kaki, Baba Farid, Khwaja Hazrat Nijamuddin Aulia, and Mehboob-e-Ilahi. Now, Sohrawardi order. The Sohrawardi Silsila was established in India by the Bahauddin Zakriya of Multan. He also came to India at the same time as Chishti. He was born at Kot Karur near Multan in 1180. The Chishtis and Sohrawardis had different religious practices and lifestyles. The saints of the Chishti order lived a very simple life and refused to accept royal employment. So students, here a short summary for the revision of chapter the 8 devotional path to divine. Hope you understood it.